Hey there, it's Tresa. I haven't been on here in a while because I've been kind of busy, and I had to start my sourdough starter all over again, but I got it going, and I wanted to share with you. I mixed up the really simple part of English muffins, sourdough English muffins, last night, and let them sit overnight because that's what you need to do. And so what it is, it's 2 cups of flour, a cup of water, and half a cup of your sourdough starter. So I have that in this bowl, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add some other ingredients. I'm going to stir them in, and I'll show you the steps. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking soda and some honey, and I'm going to stir it in. Now, a tip for honey is that you do not want to use a metal spoon in your honey, because the active, the metal does something to the active ingredients in the honey, and what happens when you put metal in is it just kind of like negates that. So you always want to use wooden or like silicone. I guess you could use plastic. I have this little silicone spoon on a wooden handle, so if I'm going to scoop some out, I use that, and if I put it in my coffee or whatever, I'm going to stir it up and use that spoon and not put a metal spoon in my coffee. Okay, so I'm stirring this in. It is a very sticky dough, and I'm going to get this baking soda incorporated, and I'm going to let it sit for a couple minutes so that it starts to rise, and then I'll show you my next steps. This is a very, very sticky dough. So I actually added a little bit more flour, and I've got it on a board, and I'm going to just kind of roll it out. I've got all the ingredients incorporated, and I'm going to use my bench scraper, and we're going to cut this into 12 equal pieces. So I want to get it. You need to make sure you keep the flour on the board because it is really sticky. So I'm going to cut it. I think that's about half. Let me get a little more flour. Because like I said, it is really, really sticky. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I just want to keep it well floured. It will help it not to stick so much on this board as I'm cutting it up. Okay, now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to cut this in half again. And then each of these into 3 pieces. You can see what I'm doing. It's sort of hard to see. Okay, so I have this. Can you see that now? And cut it into 12 pieces. And I'm going to make them into balls. And then I'm going to move over to the stove. I'm going to preheat my cast iron pan while I let these sit here. They'll just rise a little bit more. And once that cast iron pan is heated, and I just like to put it on low. It gets pretty hot anyways, so put it on low. And we'll start cooking. So we'll move over there. Okay, so I have my cast iron skillet here, and it's been heating for a little bit. I am going to add a little bit of avocado oil. You could use butter or coconut oil, but I happen to have avocado oil. I'm going to turn this so you can see a little bit better. These have just been sitting here for a couple minutes. I'm going to try to put, I think I probably could do 3 at a time. I don't want to do more than that. And I just want to leave it on low and put them in, and they're going to puff up and rise in the pan. And I have back here a baking sheet that I just put some parchment on. And typically what I do is I preheat the oven to 300, and once these are browned on both sides, I'll put them on that baking sheet, pop them in the oven. That way I make sure that the insides are cooked really well. So I will show you as I go step by step. So I've got some more cooking up in the skillet, and I just wanted to show you. I've got some in the oven. I'll let them bake. These were a little puffy. I actually turned the temperature up in the oven to 350 so they can bake in there and finish up. So the English muffins are done. I'm going to show you. I've got one toasting. I'm going to cook some eggs and have some breakfast. But these are the best ones I've ever made. They came out great. You can see that. I cut one open. I've got it toasting. I'm going to let these bake just so that the centers are nice and cooked. And then I'll take them out and I'll cool them. And I'll have English muffins. I often will freeze them, separate them by parchment, and put them in a, wrap them in parchment if I'm going to put them in a bag. Or I have some silicone containers that I can use to freeze in. I try not to freeze in plastic, but if I wrap them in parchment, well, that way they're separated too, so I can pop out one at a time and pop it in the toaster or in the oven and warm it up and have it for breakfast. So I hope that you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. God bless. Happy to have you here. Check out, I've got a couple new things listed below. I've got a private group that you can join and all sorts of great things. So I am so blessed to have you here. God bless.